We are better together. We have actually been created to be connected. I know it's been a hard time. I know a lot of us have felt disconnected, but we're here to be connected. First and foremost, to Spirit, to God, to infinite intelligence, to unlimited creativity. That's our heritage. That's our divine inheritance. And to be connected to one another. Let's start first, though, by that connection to Spirit. Because that connection to Spirit is going to make all the difference in how we show up in the world and how we see the world. Reverend Sage, thank you for that sharing, because if we re-educate our minds and heal our hearts, we'll be looking for the good instead of being sucked into the what's bad and what's wrong. You know, I can't remember where I read this or heard this, but it made such an impact on me. It's how we have to start participating in life and not just watching. Like, life is not a spectator sport. And it gave the example and said, if you are a reporter, when will the point come when you'll put down your camera and embrace the screaming child? Isn't that true? We're so ready to give information and opinions and ideas on how to do things better. When are we going to start being better and seeing what's good and right? And it all starts with our inner life, because it's when our inner life meets the outer life that we re-educate our minds and hearts to do better. So let's look for a minute at the teachings of Jesus, because I love the words of Jesus and the wisdom, the greatest teacher, way shower, master ever. And when he was speaking as the Logos, he said, I am the vine and you are the branches. Now, if you think about that, the branches are all connected to this strong, powerful, nourishing vine, right? They're all different. They're all unique branches. They all have their own expression. But the branches, they're simply the tree. I mean, the vine is simply giving the energy, giving the life to each of these individual branches. And if we could learn to program our minds every morning by saying, this is the truth I embrace this morning. There's only one life. That life is God's life. And I and we are each individual expressions, unique, great, creative expressions of that one life. How different would our approach to the day be? How different would we look at things if we could see it in that aspect? You know, unconsciously, we always know, I mean, listen, our blood's flowing, our heart's beating, things are working. I mean, we don't know how, but we know unconsciously that there's this one power. My suggestion, we need to now start consciously aligning first and foremost with that power and presence, and then show up in the world. The world is in desperate need of repair. Agreed? The repair starts in us. We have to start doing that work. If we find that we feel disconnected, and we all do at some times, or maybe several times, or maybe lots of times, but guess who moved? It's not Spirit, God, love that moved. We've misdirected our energy, because right now, you and I, this moment, we have the choice that we can accept the power and presence of goodness, or we can reject it. God's will for us is always good. God's will and God's nature are the same. Gee, tell me if you disagree with any of these things. Harmony, peace, love, truth, beauty, goodness, abundance, joy, happiness. Is there anything there you disagree with? Okay, good. Then that's why we need to start aligning with that power and presence for good. There's this great man, I wish I knew him, but he's still alive. His name's Palmer Parker, and he's a writer, a speaker, and activist who focuses on issues in education, community leadership, spirituality, and social issues. And he was the founder, this is in Greenville, South Carolina. He was the founder of a center for courage and renewal. Courage and renewal. And here's what he says. He said, nothing anyone else can do to us, nothing anyone else can do to us is worse than what we do to ourselves by not being who we truly are, by not accepting our divine birthright, our unique gifts, and then using them in service, thank you, Tina, in service of the greater good, stretching ourselves, growing. I mean, that's so important. We have to accept, number one, who we really are. If we don't, we start so focusing on our small self that we become self-centered. And then we can project our struggles and our problems and our negativity and our limitation and on and on and on in our surroundings out in the world. So if you want to know right now, I can give you a little test. If we have some unhealed issues to work on, does anybody think they might? We all do. That's why we're still here and we're still breathing. So here's my test. What happens when we have these unhealed issues in our heart, and I loved when Gretchen was singing, I'll open my mind and open my heart, because our mind gets open, I think, by re-education and learning more and understanding more, and our heart gets opened by healing those wounds that can keep us stuck in overactive emotional responses. Do you ever have any of those? Okay, just checking. So here's your clue. Ask yourself this question. Do I ever take the bait of jumping into someone's bad behavior so it changes mine? Okay? Do I justify getting even instead of getting better? Do I shirk my responsibilities by not admitting when I've been wrong and not apologizing to someone I've hurt? Do I play the victim? For me, instead of looking at where I might be part of the problem, where I might have something to do with what's going on wrong, what's not working. And do I use shame and blame to cover my own guilt or my own insecurities? And last but not least, do I have a tendency to connect with others by gossiping about demeaning things of other people? Just to check, we can let that go. Okay. So what do you do about that? If you said yes to any of those things, we have to start building a stronger inner life. Just as I said, every day, it's taking time to talk to and listen to God. There's a Quaker saying, and I like it. It's, let your life speak, right? Let your life speak. And if we hear that, we probably think, oh, let my light shine, give my gifts to the world, be a beneficial presence. Well, does anybody not want to do that? We all want to do that, but there's something more. If you really listen to that, let your life speak. It means going within you, because there's no one that knows you better than that divine spark within you, that light within you. And if we take time every day, begin the day, throughout the day, check in and ask, what does that big capital, is that the capital L, right, backwards? Yeah. Life, God, what's life trying to tell me? What's my life trying to tell me now? And listen. And we talk so often about the language of God is the language, it's the universal language of feeling. So you and I, once we connect with that still small voice within, that light, whatever it is, we feel the warmth, we feel the color, we have to feel our way back to wholeness, back to oneness, back to unity, and understand, oh, I remember who I am. I remember who I am. Remember, Jesus also said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. That's that knowledge, the greater truth. If we listed those again, harmony, peace, beauty, love, joy, all of that. Seek first that, and then everything else is added. We get to do that. So if we meet our inner life our outer life with our inner life. We can come to situations wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly means, and we talk, I love Rumi's quote, out beyond ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. Remember that one that we say all the time? Well, if we really can approach outer life from our inner life, we can step into that wholehearted living and hold on to paradox. It doesn't mean we have to let go of our opinions. Our opinions and our thoughts and our ideas make us who we are, but we can hold it all when we realize the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So we can hold it all. When we really can enter our inner life, can connect with our outer life, and that's when the reporter knows when to put down the camera and embrace the world that's in front of it. To add love and goodness to whatever's going on, not just be a bystander, to say, oh, look what's wrong with the world, but to step into, how can I make things better? Well, that's the first step. The second step is remembering we're in this together. I'll tell you, in our angel story that we had for 7 years, 8 years, that's seek heaven first. We'd have people come in, all kinds of people, with great problems, great loss, great sadness, and they needed something bigger to hang on to. We also had people come in with great miracles and stories they wanted to share about healings that had happened and goodness that had happened in families and bodies and emotions, whatever. It was the whole big spectrum of things. We got it all. And we could see, without question, that we're all the same in the heart. We're all the same. We all have love, we all have pain, we all have goodness, we all have sorrow. Everyone is the same in the heart. And that's where community comes in. Community, which we are the InSpirit community, and we're part of the community here and part of other communities and part of the community of humanity. And in community, there is unity. And it's about coming together. We call it here the field of faith. And what we know, we do this every Sunday, as we come in here, and whatever state we may be in that day, sometimes it's to bring the joy and the happiness and the spirit, and other times it's just because we need it so much. It doesn't matter. We come together, and what we create is a greater field of faith. And that field of faith is, how I mentioned earlier that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts? Well, if we come in here in prayer and meditation, we create a greater field of faith that not only affects the individuals, but goes out and spreads that energy, goes out and spreads it. So that's the job we have to do. So let's create a field of faith, and that's where you just focus on prayer and meditation. So let's just repeat after me. I pray for peace. I pray for love. I pray for wholeness. I pray for beauty. I pray for love. And I pray for healing. Ernest Holmes said it is the duty, the privilege, and the joy to unite in this great field of faith. We're all better because of it. And he said, now we take this faith and unite it in one purpose, surrendering our differences to unite in the common good of all. And that's just what we've done here, knowing the best for each other. I want to close by reading this quote from the Dalai Lama, and it touched me greatly. He said, we must conceive of ourselves as part of one community. We must support that one community through our one humanity, and not put our own community ahead of humanity, but support that goodness. If we want a better world for our grandchildren, we must act now. And as you know, that had a great hit for me, because I want a world where my beautiful little granddaughter, who's now 2.5 months old, isn't judged from where she came or the color of her skin, but who she is. And she loves to laugh. And I want to keep that. We can't continue to just regret, regret, regret. Change will come from education, re-educating our minds and hearts. A sense of wholeness is a necessity. We must move from I to we. So can we hold that understanding and knowing that our minds in this moment have been opened by the truth, by the understanding that right where we are in this and every moment, there is a power for good wanting to express through each and every one of us that is ignited through us. And as we join together in that knowing and understanding of the good that is inherent and possible right here and right now, the healing, the love, the knowing that's here for us to know and claim and grow as we combine it together, that we move from that sense of I am to we are the ones right here and now that have that potential to see a greater good, a greater truth for ourselves and for everyone. And as we feel that energy, we take a moment and know the beating of our hearts is the same heartbeat of everyone. We belong to each other and are connected by thousands of invisible threads of love and peace and joy and understanding and awakening and growth and possibility. It's in us now. We choose to live it, to be it, to remember who we are. Saying thank you, God, for all of this and so much more. And thank you, InSpirit community, for being on the path of love and possibility and oneness right here and right now. We close this knowing, seeing goodness, looking through the eyes of love. We simply say together, and so it is. And please know how much you are all loved completely.